I'm trying out something different with my face there. We'll see how it goes. But we're on Check Your Understanding. This is again from topic 1.2 through 1.4, using graphs and tables to find limits. So the idea is to now let's see what we can do. Based on what we did, what we practiced, can we figure this out? So I'll do some with you, and then others I'll let you do. All the answers will be shown at the end of the video, but you want to challenge yourself to do them yourself. You want to make sure that I can do these, not that you can do these, that I can. So I can do them. Can you? So it's not about what I can do. Like I said, all the answers will be there, but it is about what you can do. So this first one, we've got x approaching 3 from the left. So 3 is right here. And as I approach from the left, that means this way, I'm going to get 0. What happens? That is just a terrible 0. What happens as I approach from the right? Oh, I also get 0. Cool. So what's the answer? Well, it's 0. What is the value of the function? It's 0. Now I want you to do the ones with 1. Again, go ahead and pause the video right now, or I'm going to keep going and move on to number 2. I want you to do 1. 1's a little trickier, so just keep that in mind, but I want you to try 1. Okay? Again, I'm going to move on to number 2. So on number 2, we see sketch a function g, where the limit as x approaches 2 from the right is 0, and the limit as x approaches 2 from the left is 3. So this is going to be 2, and as I come from the right, I get 0. So coming from the right, I get 0. Doesn't tell me anything. I'm just going to put an arrow on this end. Then I'm going to come from the left, and I'm going to get 3. So that's going to be up here. So I'm going to come from the left like that. And so there I am. I'm going to put a solid circle here because it doesn't matter. So something like that. And again, you can do something else. It's just this is 3 and this is 2. So I could have had this one coming from under, that one coming from above. It's not important. That's the idea. And then we have number 3. Evaluate the limit by making a table, then sketch the graph from your calculator. So the limit of the sine of x over x. So the whole calculator thing, I'm going to go ahead and open the TI calculator that I have here on my computer. There it is. Okay. And I'm going to kind of show you some things you can do with your table, with your calculator. Okay. So here's the calculator. It's coming up. I'm going to try to shrink it down so it's not in the way once it gets loaded. Let me just show you how to do this on your calculator really fast. So the first thing I want to do is clear all this nonsense. I'm going to go into y equals. I'm going to clear out this and go down and clear out that. I don't need either of those. So first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and type. Now one of the cool things, I don't know if you know, with this is that you can type a fraction that looks like a fraction. So under math in the fraction line, there's number 1 will give me a fraction. So see how it's already a fraction. That's kind of nice. And so then sine is right here of x. I can't use my keyboard. Sine of x, close parentheses, all over x. Okay, so I have that. Now I don't want to look at the graph yet. I want to look at the table. So you can see the words up here. Table is on F5. So second and table. And then I want to actually, I want to set up my table. So table set up. I'm going to start. I'm at -0.5 because that's what's in my. It looks like I want to set my own. So I want to make it ask, not in, so then I don't have to worry about any of this. So if I want the table to be generated by the calculator, I put it on auto. If I want to do it so I can put in my own values, I put it on ask. Then we go back to table. So you see nothing's here. So then I can type in the numbers I have, -0.5. Go to, what did I do? Oh, I can use the minus. I used minus, not negative. Negative, okay. And then -0.1, -0.01, negative, oops, then just 0. They're just going to look an error. Oh no. 0.01, 0.1, and 0.5. And so that's what you're going to put in your table, and see how your calculator can generate those values for you really fast. That's fine. You need to know how to generate them, but it's nice to just take a shortcut every now and then. So we have an error at 0. Okay, but what does it look like it's approaching based on what we got for negative 0.101 and and positive 0.1? So what does it look like? Okay, and so there's our table. Going back to this, let's go ahead and put everything on it. We got 0.958, and again, I'm using my calculator. I'm just writing these values down. 0.998, and it was rounding, but it's supposed to be 0.99, depending on what calculator you use. 0.99, 0.98, depends on when it rounds, by the way. 0.958, and this was an error. So what does it look like? Well, it looks like it's approaching 1, but there is an error, because what happens? We can't divide by 0. We actually get the sign of 0, which is 0, over the sign over 0, which is 0, and you can't do 0 over 0. So there's an error here. Again, we're going to go back to the calculator to see what the graph looks like. So then I'm going to hit graph, and I don't have a good viewing window because it's been set up for something else. Look, I mean, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to go zoom, and I'm going to go zoom. Let's zoom trig. That's 7. There we go. So if you look at your window here, you can see that this is just a little bit more than 2 pi. But if I usually like to do -2 and pi, which is second right there. And I used the wrong sign. Again. Negative. And then 2 pi. And it's counting by pi halves. That's fine. And I'm just going from -4 to 4, and I'm just going to go from -2 to 2. Oh, 2. Okay. And then if we look at the graph, it'll draw it again. There we go. Okay. Put that graph on your paper. You're all set. So you should have done the one set of problems by yourself. Our other check for understanding on this is from Khan Academy, so make sure you use that. We want to get our sketch on here. We have it kind of, wait, too much ziggle. It's kind of doing that. It's not a great drawing, but we need to make sure it's really good here. It is, but there's an open circle right there. So let's kind of do a better job. Open circle, okay, and that's important, but it's still approaching 1, even though there's an open circle. And we'll get into some of that stuff as we go. Really quickly, the answers for E. And again, if you didn't pause and do E, take a minute. Don't just take my answers. Pause and do E. We have -1, 4, D and E, which stands for does not exist, because they're 2 different numbers. So since they don't agree, and we really hadn't talked about that yet, but since they don't agree, it does not exist. The left and right-handed limits have to be the same. And then f of 1 is this one, because that's an open circle. So f of 1 is 4. And we'll get into what that means in a little while later. But you can see the graph jumped. That was a good sign that it wasn't going to exist. Okay. So there you go. Are there any questions? Well, you'll have to come and ask me those on Wednesday. I'll see you guys soon.